This love no be ordinary thing. We supposed to be one night stands. Now that they got you in it, I get vexed when I see you with another person. Joe boy dead. Respect is reciprocal, even though we know it's special.
Okay, so here's what's gonna happen today. I'm gonna film this, and no matter what happens, this is going on my YouTube. Scary, but this is the only way that I'm going to get over this. I don't know, it's like a feeling of embarrassment, or it's a feeling of vulnerability. Yeah, that's the word. Whenever I used to make YouTube videos in the past, you know, at the time I would spend so long on one project. Oh, jeez. I would spend so long on one video or on one blog post trying to make it absolutely perfect. And only when I felt like it was absolutely perfect would I post it. And now when I actually look back on some of that stuff now, I still see some things that I could do better. But at the time, I thought this is my best work. This is really... I'm really proud of this. Something that happened to me recently where I was actually asked to do a video and I physically couldn't do it. I filmed, deleted, and it was a pattern it's been a pattern that has repeated itself over the years, and that's really why my whole YouTube channel has been a disappearing act. Is sometimes I make videos and sometimes I stop. There was one time that I addressed it on my channel, and obviously like having some like self-image issues, you know, that's been a factor that stopped me from making videos in the past. And I guess in some respects that kind of played a factor into why I haven't made videos as of recent, but I feel like it's more than that. It's almost like I would get this kind of weird anxiety when it came to actually sitting down and getting ready to post something. There's something about having content out there where you have basically no control over it after you've posted it. And I don't know, it was a weird sense of embarrassment. When I started making videos on this channel, I didn't really care. I would just post because this was my outlet and this is just what made me happy, and this is just, yeah, it was an outlet. But I don't know, it's just as I've gotten older, it's weird. There was like a shift. And yeah, but I want to get back to that. I want to get back to feeling confident about what I'm sharing. I want to get back to that sense of just not caring and just putting the content out there, because I have a lot to share and there's a lot that I've learned over the years that I really want to share. But you know, it's that sort of being self-conscious and self-image thing and blah, just like a lot of palaver that stopped me in the past. Like, I've listened to about 20 minutes of Afrobeats trying to hype myself up for this video because I just needed, and I prayed. Like, it was, yeah. But I've just decided, no matter what, I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm not going to try and perfect anything. I'm trying to just get comfortable with this, and I figure that like the more that I do it, the more comfortable I get, and I will get, by God's grace. And just, yeah, okay. So today we're talking about e.l.f. e.l.f. has been a brand that has really been, in my opinion, they've been doing bits. They've really come out with a lot of exciting products, really affordable ones too, really interesting ones, and I'm just very excited to try a couple of these things for the first time, and then just to show you some of the things that I really enjoy using on a day-to-day. Yeah, as for the look I'll be creating, we're gonna see at the end what it turns out to be, but it's gonna be something quite simple. I've brought out these Cara lashes, these wispy lashes. They're quite small, So just something like fairly natural. I don't really want, I say fairly natural now and then I come out with like half my face green. I'm going to start off with prepping my skin. I just need to refresh it a little. Like my skin was already clean. I just like to have fresh skin before I put makeup on. I hope you guys are doing well and that you're keeping safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with primer. The one that's really been popping lately has been the Poreless Putty primer. I personally think that it's just a really concentrated version of a primer they already had. So this is the Poreless face primer. This one has a little bit of a lighter texture. It too is supposed to kind of blur the skin a little, kind of reduce the appearance of pores. I guess it just depends on what you find more comfortable. If you don't mind, like, if you prefer to have something more lightweight on the skin, then you might actually prefer this one. Another primer that I have from them, which I'm really interested in trying, is the Blurring Primer Serum. I'll start off with the Poreless Putty primer. I guess I'm gonna go for something quite full coverage today, so the more primer the better, right? Don't know if that's actually true. A little bit of this. This is the Poreless. And I'm just popping this in the area where my pores tend to be the most pronounced, so in this area especially. Around here and just in this part of my forehead. I haven't put as much as I would if I was only using this, just because I'm going to be using some of that blurring serum. So you don't have to use 2 primers. I'm just being extra. Oh yeah, I really like this one. I can feel it setting immediately, and I think if you've got oily skin, you're really gonna like this. Okay, right, primer's done. Now I'm going to move on to eyebrows. Now I don't really have a lot of eyebrow products from e.l.f. I literally just have an eyebrow pencil. This is just their basic pencil. I've just used this to get a little bit of colour down. Honestly, like, I'm not too fussed about the shape at this point, because once you put concealer on, that completely changes everything. And then I'm going to put some brow pen on top to create individual hairs, so this doesn't really matter at this point. The concealer that I have is the 16-hour Camo concealer. This is the colour Rich Chocolate. This was kind of the closest one that I could find that was natural but a highlight colour. But there's something still off about it. I don't really... Oh, one second. Yeah, there's something still a little bit off about it. I can't quite put my finger on, but we're going to work with it today. This concealer sets really quickly, so you have to be fast with it. I have a couple of new palettes from e.l.f. and then there's one that I had already. These ones, the new ones, are these Bitesize palettes, which are really cute. They're so tiny. This is the palette that I had already, the Mad for Matte Jewel Pop. And this orange here is banging. This is amazing. Let's go for this one. We're gonna go for this one. It's a cute palette. Let's just try it. We'll use this one first. It's so dark. Oh no, this is a lot more dramatic than I need it to be. So I'm literally just placing the color down right now. We will blend this out in a bit, but I'm trying to build up the shadow to the intensity that I want it to be first. Now I'm going to take a number 32 brush from NYX Professional Makeup, and I'm going to take the lighter green. This isn't really translucent, but if you have a translucent powder, I would use that. I'm just using the Corrective Yellow setting powder. I use it as a setting powder. The Corrective Yellow powder. I'm just going to use a little bit of that. This is the 17 brush from NYX Professional Makeup. It is similar to the last one, but it's a bit more tapered and a bit fluffier. And just use that to soften the very edge of the green. I like using my ring finger for this step because you can really feel where your natural crease is. My eyes are slightly hooded, so I like to make my eyes appear a bit bigger by taking the concealer a little bit higher than where the natural fold in my eye is, which is why I'm probably going to have to use some bigger lashes, because it would look weird with the smaller ones. So I didn't say, but after I've patted in the base, I'm just taking the brush I used for the dark green and just using that to soften the edges, just so it's like a nice fade. So now I go into this green here, and I'm going to use my fingers for this. Wow, this color, no, I'm glad I went for this palette. This color is beautiful. And just as I'm applying it, I've always got that brush I used for the dark green on the side. The quality of these eyeshadows are exceptional, my goodness. Like, apart from the fact that the mattes have some fallout, but honestly, like, I don't care. Like, as long as it looks tidy once you blend it out on your face, like, that's really what matters. No one's gonna know when you go out whether your palette had fallout or not, so as long as the blend is nice. Okay, you might notice that I left a little gap in the center. It's because I want to use the gold there. So just switching fingers, I'm going to use... Whoa. That's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow. If there's one takeaway from this whole video, it's these palettes. I'm just going to take a bit more of that gold, and this brush is a Jessup short shader brush. Looks like that. I'm going to dip into this kind of taupey color in the other palette. Ooh. So I'm going to wipe off the excess, and I'm just going to use that same brush to kind of drag that highlight colour up into the smoke. There's no way that I'm going to be able to use these lashes. They're too small, because the liner that I'm going to have to use with this is going to have to be thick. Oh well. Elf have a few liquid liners. This is the one that has the brush. Although it's not my favourite liner, I really like the applicator. Like, the applicator is great. It's just the formula of the eyeliner itself. I added some pencil liner. I got this as a free gift, just this basic black liner from Elf. So I just use that to tightline my eyes. I've stuck on my lashes now. So yeah, that's how we're looking so far. I don't have a liquid liner, I don't have a liquid highlighter even from Elf, so I'm going to use this one from Cake. Normally what I do to create a really glowy base is I use a liquid highlighter all over my face. The foundation from Elf, I think it's a satin finish. This is the Flawless Finish foundation. This is too dark for me, by the way, so I'm going to mix it with something else. So you want to be careful if you're using a liquid highlighter, especially if you're looking to minimize your pores. I'm going to actually use a powder brush. So this brush is this is so manky, like, it's just, you can see where it's been broken, but I'm just going to use this powder brush, and it's going to help to apply it really lightly, and I'm going to focus on the areas where oh, this is so nice. This is called Fake It. I'm going to focus on the areas that I really want to be highlighted first, and then kind of bring it round to the rest of my face. Starting off where, like, I would normally apply my highlighter, tapping it in, and then kind of buffing it. So I like using a powder brush so that you get a really thin layer of this stuff. You can use your hands if you want to. I've just found that it ends up putting on more than I actually need, because this stuff is pigmented. So you see, it's not too out there. Like, it's just giving my skin a really healthy sheen. This color that I have here is too dark for me, Ebony. I think this is the darkest shade that they do. So I'm going to mix it with a lighter foundation. So I'm going to be using Born to Glow foundation from NYX Professional Makeup. Surprise, surprise. This is the shade Mocha, number 19. Not bad. Not bad at all. You know what? So far so good. This is going on really smooth. It's a shame I can't, like, properly review the e.l.f. foundation, because it is mixed with the Born to Glow, and I really like Born to Glow. So that might be, like, part of the reason why it's going on so smooth. But let me know what you think. If you've tried this foundation, what your thoughts are. This has come out really smooth. I like it. Like it is brightening and it covers really nicely, but it's just, there's something about this color I just don't like. Like it is brightening, but there's something about this color that I just, let me try. Do you know what, I've got this mixer from Elf and it's a yellow. I'll try mixing it with this first and seeing if that does anything. Okay, it has, mixing it, it has brightened it up. It's made it a bit brighter. I actually like that a lot better. Wow, that's so much better. I just needed a bit, I keep doing this because my chest has the most like yellow tone to it. Like I know obviously like I have deep dark skin, and I am mostly neutral, but it's like neutral with slight golden undertone. So whenever I use a highlighting concealer, it needs to have some yellow in it, otherwise it just looks weird on me. And before I add any more, there is a step that I've missed out, and I don't have anything from Elf that I can use to do it. So basically, lately I've been color correcting, and it's something that like I kind of fell off with because I don't know, it's just an extra step and it just felt long. But I've been using like a really red foundation or a really orange foundation around my mouth, and I just have loved how my foundation has come out when I do something like that. It's one thing that you might not notice when your makeup is freshly done, but after like a while and your makeup is naturally wearing, because no matter what you wear, like there's going to be some like wear and tear on the makeup that you put on. I just noticed that like as my makeup does break down throughout the day, this, like I start to look like I've got a mustache basically. So color correcting has really become quite important in my foundation routine. I'm going to use Revolution Fast Base foundation in F18, and this just helps to correct this area. And then I put my highlighting concealer on top and it evens it out. And honestly, like this step makes so much difference to the way my foundation wears. I get asked all the time what's better to use, a brush or a sponge. My answer is both. Sometimes there's going to be something that you need a sponge to do that a brush just can't. Like right now, if I were to use a brush, it would just disturb the color corrector that I've used underneath. And then to get product in a specific area, using a brush would be best for that. Right, so now that the foundation and concealer are on, I can now move into setting this in place. Now I've got a couple of setting powders. One that I'm really excited to use is the Halo Glow setting powder in Deep. I've seen a couple of videos on this already, and a lot of people have been saying it comes out like highlighter. I really hope that it's a bit more matte than how they say it comes out, but we'll see. Just in case, I've got my corrective yellow powder on the side. Now I think I'm going to start off with the corrective yellow around my mouth, just because I've used that color corrector and I'd rather there not be like a powder that has like anything shiny on it. I'm trying basically not to ruin what I've done. There. I get my beauty sponge, just really set that makeup in place. You might be wondering, like, what's the point of putting on the highlighter if you're going to be using a powder? The highlighter is just the base. The idea is that the glow that you get is supposed to look like it's coming from within. Now that I've set around my mouth, I'm just going to go ahead and use this everywhere else. This is creasing. I wonder if it's because of the mixer. The mixer is quite thin. The concealer is quite thick, so normally on its own it's fine. But maybe I made it too thin with the mixer, I don't know. If I were going to bake, I would have added more of that corrective yellow powder, but I really do want to try this halo one. Despite how it looks, I haven't actually used this for a makeup look before, so we're gonna see how that comes out. It does have a sheen to it, like you can see it, you can really see it. It's not, from the looks, it's not out of control though. It's not, it does, yes it does have a sheen to it, but it's not like a highlighter. Ooh, did I speak too soon? This is... Oh. Okay, if you're trying to cover up your pores, don't do this. Okay, just before I apply any more. Oh boy, okay. I think I spoke too soon. Oh no. Oh, that's made me really shiny. That's made me really shiny. Too shiny. This is really, oh my gosh. I think I've ruined it. Okay, now that I brought the powder down a little bit lower so it doesn't look like as stark as it did before, but I don't know. Like, I have a thing about powders that have a sheen to them. Like, I even created my own concoction mixing in some highlighter into a setting powder, and I really like that. But this is a little more reflective than I thought it would be. Maybe it's because I had the other powder underneath. Because I thought maybe the opposite would happen. If I had another powder underneath, then this wouldn't go on so heavy. I don't know. What do you think? How is it? Oh gosh, this side looks better. I've ruined it. But I have to even it out now. What can you do? This is what happens. You live and you learn, isn't it? Oh, no, don't use this to bake. Don't use this to bake. Use it as a finishing powder. What is it they said? Want to make your skin look like it's wearing a beauty filter? The silky, weightless texture of this setting powder drapes the skin for a dreamy, blurring, soft focus finish. Created with finely milled synthetic sapphire particles to give your skin a soft glow, help smooth the appearance of fine lines and blur imperfections. Well, I did want a glowy base, so I guess you need to be careful what you wish for. I think it's safe to say that I don't really like my base now. I feel like everything was well and good until that setting powder. So I don't have an all over face powder from e.l.f. so I'm gonna have to use mine. Before I actually put my powder on, I'm gonna do a little bit of bronzing just because like all this setting powder has made my skin look quite like so. Okay, so I'm going to use from Masked, the blusher brush. This powder is the matte base powder from Revolution. I do have one of their new bronzers and also one of their CC powders, but I will try that out in another video. See, I have plans. These videos are going to come. This powder is very red, so the all over face powder that I'll use has more of like a neutral undertone to balance that out. Man, I don't know if there's any saving this. I'm going to take NYX Professional Makeup Powder Brush, number 2, and the NYX Professional Makeup Hydro Touch Powder in Cocoa. This is quite a neutral powder, so I'm hoping that this will just help to even things out a bit. Ooh, oh, she dark. Quite like that mix. Right, because that one's a little bit darker than I thought it would be, I'm going to actually dip into a little bit of this Revolution powder in P16. I think I get what everyone was talking about now. I get it. Because I'm supposed to use the illuminating setting spray, but I don't think I'm going to use that now. It's a bit, I think it would be too much and it will look worse on camera. I feel like glowy stuff generally looks better in person than it does on camera. I'm going to use matte setting spray from NYX. It's just, I I can't do this one. This will just make it too shiny. I'm gonna use what's left of this. I need to buy a new one of this as well. Oh, that already looks so much better. That looks so much better. Matte setting spray. Seriously, this NYX matte setting spray solves everything. Can't go wrong with that. Right. I have a blush. The only thing is, it's a luminous blush. This is the shade Luminous Bronze from e.l.f. We'll try it. This is a testing video, so I'll try a little bit. Ooh. Oh, I'm gonna have to just stop there. That's a bit. On any other day, if I didn't have as much eye makeup on and maybe not highlighter for a setting powder, then maybe it could be more pigmented, but I'm seeing more shine than color. So I'm just gonna stop there. I'm just gonna blend what's on my face. Just for bounce, I'm gonna put a highlighter on. So this is Apricot Glow. Ooh, it's got an eyelash on it. I think this is a baked highlighter. I don't know if they have, this is something I already had. I can't remember if this was one of their baked blushes that I bought to use as a highlighter, or it is actually a highlighter. But it's called Apricot Glow. I'm going back into our palette here. I'm going to start off with the lighter green and then gradually add more of the darker green. Whoever at e.l.f. designed these palettes, oh my gosh, like their product development team needs to be celebrated. The stuff that they've come out with, like I know obviously like I've talked trash about the powder. I will find a way to use it. I don't waste my makeup. But they've come out with all new lipsticks. Really cool. This is called Chocolate Muffin. It's from Saturated Color. This one has seen better days. If you follow me on Instagram, you know what's up. Like I talk about this lip liner constantly. This is such a dark brown. What I really love about this liner is how smoothly the color comes off. It's not like you have to rub back and forth to get pigment. Once I've got my lip liner on, I'm going to take a little bit more of my foundation on the brush that I used to clean up my eyebrows and just clean up this line here. I'm going to use one of the new lipsticks now. So e.l.f. had like a whole revamp of all of their lipsticks, and they came out with a whole bunch of these ones. So these, I guess, with the old ones called Essential lipsticks, I think. So they've called these ones Seriously Satin, and I got this one in Cocoa. Right off the bat, packaging. If you're into packaging, you might not like this too much. It's a bit simple. It's £3 though, and what's important is the juice, what's inside. So that's Cocoa. Cute. This foundation is breaking up. Oh my days. Nah, something's wrong somewhere. Not gonna lie, as much as I do like this color on its own, as you can see, this is how it comes out on its own, and then on my lips it's come out like this because I've got the liner on with it. A small part of me wishes that this was a little bit darker, but this is a pretty dark lipstick as far as affordable lipsticks go. I find that with a lot of like affordable, like really affordable, we're talking e.l.f. MUA type prices, can't even include Revolution in that anymore, because those kind of lipsticks, a lot of times they tend to come up with the same kind of color scheme. We see the same thing over and over, but it's really, really nice and quite refreshing to see such a deep color available. Okay, so here we go. This is the finished look. This lipstick, it has, like it says, a satin finish. I want to try and make it matte. One sec. To do this, you can use a translucent powder if you want to, but I'm going to use the Make Me Matte from Saturated Color, and you just put this over the top of the lipstick. So much better. Love that. So my verdict, I don't know if it's definitely not the primer. I refuse to believe that it's the primer that is the cause of this. I have a feeling it might have been using the mixer with the concealer. Yeah, I have a feeling it was the mixer and the concealer because I've used corrective yellow before with other concealers and it's been fine, and with other foundations as well. It's either the concealer, because I haven't used the concealer in a while. It's nearly finished, but I haven't used it in a hot minute. So it's either the concealer, the mixer, or the foundation that's done this, because it's kind of like breaking up around my nose. It did break up a little bit more, like it's starting to do it again. It's starting to do it again around my mouth, but it's not anything that's like really noticeable unless you're like really up close. I think that's probably the really only con I have, is that some of the base products clearly don't like each other. Other than that, the primers are beautiful. The brow pencil is a brow pencil. I mean, you can't really go wrong there. But the eyeshadows are amazing. If you are dark skinned and you're looking for everyday makeup, then go for this one. The brown in here is really warm, even though I didn't use it for this look, but the brown in here is really warm, and it has a black eyeshadow in it, it has a light brown, and it has a shimmery color, like the basic colors that you need. Then if you want to amp up and create something like what I've done here, this one is a bargain. And I can't even say that it's like really good for the money. It's just really good. Highly recommend this one. So the green one that I've used on my eyes is Jalapeno, and the everyday one is called Truffles. The blush was actually really nice. It's, even though it didn't really show up too much on my skin, the sheen that it left behind is really pretty, and I think maybe if I hadn't used so much of the halo powder, then it would have looked a lot nicer. And same thing with the highlighter. I already had this, but this is a really nice product as well. Comment below what you think. I think there's something going on with this base that I don't know, it's just not sitting well with me, but we move, we carry on. This is what testing videos are for. I have to keep reminding myself that. Thank you if you made it this far into the video. You might have noticed, like, as I was talking and getting into the makeup more, that I was getting more comfortable, and I think that's a good thing. I'm no psychology expert or anything, but I definitely think that if there is something that you're afraid of doing, you have to keep, this might not be the best advice, I guess it's subjective, it depends on the situation, but I feel like in this case for me, I've had to keep putting myself in this situation where I feel vulnerable in order for me to eventually do it and to eventually start this up again. It started with some Instagram posts, because even posting on Instagram I found difficult for some time, but I've become more comfortable with that, and I'm hoping that now that I've made this and I've already made up my mind that this video is going up regardless of whatever, I feel like this is just going to help me feel more comfortable doing videos like this, and that it will mean more content in the future, because I really genuinely I do have a lot I want to share, and I just really have to I have to just literally face my fear every time I do this. I don't know what kind of message I'm trying to communicate, but I hope this helps anyone if you feel like afraid of doing something that you've always wanted to do. You know, just try and, you know, take steps in that direction. I couldn't have jumped straight back into videos. Like, starting off with the Instagram post was a way for me to get back into doing this and just kind of putting myself out there. So follow your dreams. Oh, no. What I mean is just like, yeah, just try baby steps every day. Okay, enough rambling. Bye guys, take care, bye.